Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here today with Timo of Oceans to talk about We Are Not Okay, released on April 30th by Nuclear Blast. How's it going?
It is going great. It is going great.
Are you okay?
Luckily, I am okay. Yes, yes.
I, I love the title, We Are Not Okay. I mean, this really defines, I'm sure, with almost everybody's feeling over the
Right now.
past year.
Yeah.
Was that a little bit of an inspiration for how you guys arrived at the title for this EP?
No, we just got lucky, to be honest. We we just we just got totally. I mean, it is not a great situation, but it was a perfect fit, and it wasn't intended at all. Uh, the original intention was more like something I was thinking about, like we as a society are not okay because we have this increasing problem of more and more people battling mental illness, depression, more and more people having burnouts because like this fast pace environment, work, social media, and all that stuff that we're living in. I guess our brains are just not built to handle it or something like that. We cannot adapt to technology as fast as technology is evolving.
Yeah.
And this was actually what I was thinking in the beginning. And then this whole pandemic and lockdown situation happened. And yeah, but this was kind of like a, how do you say, like a catalyst for all those problems. And now it's even worse.
Yeah,
So
I think the pandemic just made those problems jump even more into the forefront. I mean, it's not like they didn't exist before. I think they're just more noticeable now.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
With mental illness being such an important topic, uh, was it a difficult topic for you guys to approach? Because you have to do it in a certain way, because everybody's going to take their own interpretation of it. So,
Mhm.
was it something difficult to start off with?
Mm, not that much because for like from the beginning on, we made this our like personal agenda, if you want to. Yeah, yeah, kind, but that's the right word, I think, because like even not just for this EP, but when we started Oceans, we said, okay, what's like the common ground that all four of us have, and we knew, okay, we're gonna make heavy music, we're gonna make metal music, but it's not gonna be like I don't know, pagan or drinking or whatever stuff there might be. We knew it's gonna be more of an emotional, serious kind of type of thing, and but we wanted to have a positive message at least sometimes. So this like silver lining at the horizon at the end, like after the storm has calmed down and the sun is coming up again, like this moment, this picture, we wanted to have it in our music, and that's kind of why we found this common ground in all the four of us. All four of us have our own personal um, experience and relationship to this topic of mental illness. Some of us have been battling depression ourselves, like the whole program with medication and therapy and all of it. Um, some of us like have to deal with it like on a professional level, like at work. Um, we have friends, relatives, loved ones that are like battling and like so we have to be there for them, which is also a very interesting perspective for this whole mental health topic, even if you're not affected yourself or if you're like battling it yourself. But like for example, living with someone who does is also very challenging and requires a lot of understanding of the illness itself and for the people, a lot of patience. And yeah, that's why we thought, okay, let's tackle this topic and let's try to raise awareness for this.
When did the idea for this EP, very specific on this topic, start to brew in your mind? When did everything start to take shape?
I'm not that sure, to be honest. The the original idea came from Patrick, our guitar player. He had a really like disastrous event, really personal, something really bad in his like family happened, which kind of led to to this whole idea of making not just an EP that is totally focused around the topic, but making more, not just the EP. We kind of tried to do like a whole campaign out of it, with the partnerships and the features and all that. And but I can't say when it was. It was, I guess, sometime after we released the debut album. And I mean, we released The Sun and the Cold in January 2020. And we had another single in, I think, when was it? March or something. And it had to be sometime after that, I guess. Already during the pandemic, though. But yeah,
But
I guess
the
sometime
roots.
around like July 2020 or something,
Mhm.
we started thinking about doing this EP.
And you mentioned the impact that mental illness has on everybody, maybe not directly, but indirectly with somebody around you that you know that is suffering from it. And when you look at the metal world, it seems to be that musicians in general seem to be plagued by mental illness. But
Yeah.
I still feel like there's a little bit of a stigma associated with it, that people try to hide it, or to cover it up as much as they
Yes.
can because they don't want
Yes.
to be judged for the problems that they're facing. Do you hope that the music you're creating will allow people to feel a little bit more comfortable with the topic and perhaps come into the forefront and
Yes.
expose some of their
Yes.
own demons?
Totally, totally. That is exactly what I'm hoping. This is exactly what we're hoping. Yeah, you just nailed it. It's just we're trying, we're saying this all the time. We're trying to end the stigma of mental health in society, in people's minds. I always have this comparison that like when you break a leg, you go to the hospital and you get it fixed, and nobody will like laugh at you for it, and you won't feel ashamed for going to the hospital for it. And then on the other hand, you have this situation where, I don't know, maybe someone has depression, which is also an illness. The problem just is you cannot see it
Yeah, it's not
as
visible.
easily, or at least not as easily see it as like a broken leg, for example. But what you do, it is an illness. It can be treated. You can also go to a doctor, or in this case, a therapist. You can also, if it is the right choice in your individual situation, you can also get medication for it. Um, but this, weirdly enough, is kind of a thing that is socially not really accepted, that people are ashamed of talking about or even doing. And it's just stupid. It's totally stupid. And um, I think it depends a little on where you live. Like, I mean, we're living in Western Europe, here in Germany and Austria, and here it is totally not common to talk about stuff like that. Not at all. You would never talk to like an acquaintance or a colleague at work or even a friend that you might see a therapist. This is nothing you would ever admit to maybe your closest friends, but it is nothing you would talk about. And I get the feeling that, for example, in the USA, it's a totally different thing. That people talk about it like, oh yeah, I'm getting a coffee and I'm calling my therapist. They don't care. They just
Yeah,
talk about it. It's
yeah, it's
normal.
it's
So
it's a lot more, it's a lot more open here. There's still a stigma here, don't get me
mm,
wrong, but I
mm.
think people have learned to accept it more openly, that it is a problem, and you're not less of a person for
No,
admitting that you have a problem. It's no different than you going into rehab for drug abuse or alcohol or whatever the case
no,
may be.
no. Vice versa. I always say it takes so much strength and courage to do that, to admit it to yourself that you have um, a problem. That's not the right word, to be honest. It's more like that like recognizing, oh, goddamn, I have something is not right, and I want to fix it, and I want to get better. It takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of courage, even when you have depression. I don't know, something like just picking up the phone and calling someone can be like an impossible task. And imagine how hard it must be to like book an appointment for a therapist when even picking up the phone and calling people is like the hardest thing you can think of in your
Yeah.
life. So
Yeah, it must be a sense of isolation because you really feel like you're
totally,
isolated,
totally. Yeah, yeah, totally. And then
and
you
you,
get
you
into
just have
this,
nobody to reach out to.
exactly, and this is creating this downward spiral that's making this already terrible experience even worse for people. And it shouldn't be that way. And that's why we're trying our small part in trying to change that.
In heavy music, do you think that in metal in general, and aggressive music like heavy metal and all the subgenres that we could go into, do you think some of that comes from, you're singing about heavy topics and you're singing almost from a sense of masculinity, and then admitting that you have such problem would kind of degrade the image that you've been creating across all these years that you had. I'm not talking about you specifically, but in general, do you think there's a little bit of that you don't want to hurt that image that you've created of being this invincible person that talks about all of these invincible things?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that depends on what genre. I mean, metal is so versatile. If you're, I don't know, more in the, I don't know, let's say you're doing the Viking metal or something, and you're just like singing about Valhalla and battles and being the greatest warrior on earth. Maybe it wouldn't fit that well, but even there, I think it would be pretty awesome if a band like
Yeah.
if a band like Amon Amarth would. I mean, I don't know, maybe they did. I don't know, but just imagine they would like do a song about, I don't know, the anxiety that you would feel after, I don't know, going to thousands of battles and seeing all your friends die or whatever. I don't, it's not this I think it fits everywhere, and I think the good thing, that's what I love about metal music, and especially I mean, I grew up with all the 90s new metal bands, and they were like totally all over this topic, of course. I mean, this was like a really, all the topics in this genre were very emotional, personal, about like personal struggles and stuff like that. So this is what I grew up with, and this is why I'm so comfortable in doing that, why I don't really mind, and I don't see myself like less as a man or something like that, because I talk about my emotions, like quite the contrary, actually. And so I think that's why metal is really fitted for this topic, I think, because other genres might not be dealing with it that well, maybe.
Yeah, and it may give you an avenue in order to express how you feel in different ways. I mean, some songs perhaps a little bit more melodic, a little bit more melancholic, a little bit
Yeah,
more
yeah.
aggressive, because that the struggles of mental illness are not flat. It's not
No.
like the way you feel on day one is how you feel on day 30. So perhaps with metal genre, it allows you to kind of have more of that roller coaster output in your music
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
reflects the illness itself.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. That's what we tried to do with especially with Voices on the CP, which is themed around like bipolar schizophrenic disorder, and we tried to make the song and the lyrics and the vocals, everything as contrasty as possible, kind of.
To
And
give you that sense of multiple people in it,
exactly,
almost like
exactly,
multiple people in your head.
exactly. And I mean, I guess it's possible, but um, having no experience in, for example, making rap music, I cannot come up with an idea how I would do that in doing rap music. Not that I want to degrade rap music in any way. I love it. I listen to a lot of it, but um, I would have no clue in how to do that in a rap song, because the palette I have, like in metal, with the instruments and the different styles of vocals I can use, with the clean vocals and growling and screaming and everything. It's so wide. It gives me such a great array of emotions that I can cover. That's why I love it so much. This is why, like, this is the my music of choice most
you
of the time.
you touched on the vocals, so I want to go there right now and ask you how, or maybe not how, but at what point in the process did you decide that you guys wanted to have guest vocalists on these tracks, have a different guest vocalist for each of the tracks?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, because this is like the fourth interview in a row now, but we didn't just want to make an EP, we wanted to make like a whole campaign out of it. I think I said that before.
Yeah, you touched
So,
upon it.
genau, we wanted to make a whole campaign out of it about like raising awareness for this mental health topic. And the first thing was that we teamed up with this German nonprofit organization, The Ocean in Your Mind, and we knew, okay, we want to raise awareness for this. This is the same goal they have. We also wanted to raise some money for them because we think they're doing really great work here. And then we thought, okay, how can we find more partners to make this campaign like bigger, to get more reach, to get a bigger outcome in the end, like to raise more awareness, to raise more money for this NPO. And yeah, then we pretty fast came to the conclusion that, okay, we just need cool other artists that we would love to collaborate with anyways, because it's always fun to collaborate with other musicians, and that also like support the cause and want to be part of it. And yeah, that's how it started.
Did you get the people that you wanted? I'm not going to ask you to throw anybody under the bus if somebody told you no, but I feel like you got like a nice array of guest musicians that fit like a glove to the songs that you guys created. So was that an easy transition getting them on board and then working out all the details?
It was easier than we expected, to be honest, and I couldn't be any happier with all the four of them. So, um, of course, people told us no, but I don't think I'm throwing anybody under the bus by saying that, because I couldn't be any happier with what we did together with the four. Um, yeah, in the beginning, we just sat down and like brainstormed a whole list of people that we could imagine doing. I mean, obviously, we're not. I don't know. We're not Iron Maiden. We're not Metallica. We cannot say, okay, I want this one, this one, this one, this one, and then say our management, hey, give them a call. We want to have them on the EP. So, that's not what happened. We made a huge list and we asked a lot of people, and of course, a lot of people didn't respond or said no, they don't want to do it, and but those four said yes, and I'm really happy they did. And the thing is, we didn't only send them like the songs and ask them if they want to do a feature. We sent them like a whole um, kind of kit for like kind of a press kit for this whole campaign we wanted to start, like that we are partnering with this organization, that we want to raise money, and how parts of the revenue go back to this organization and all that. So it wasn't just about the music, it was more about the cause, and the music was just a vehicle for it. And this is why I'm even more happy about those who said yes, because they didn't only say yes to like Oceans as a band and our music, they also said yes to supporting this whole campaign.
You mentioned that this is not just an EP. This is a whole project that you guys elaborated. Like there's a lot of moving pieces, or there's a lot of pieces to the much larger puzzle.
Yeah.
What was the most challenging aspect of bringing all of these pieces together?
Oh, there were a couple. I mean, the lyrics were obviously not that easy to do, because it is a sensitive subject. You don't want to touch it like too shallow. Um you want to like give the people that really go through all this. I mean, I wrote lyrics about schizophrenic bipolar disorder, and luckily I don't have it. I don't know how it feels to have it, and I'm happy that I don't. But some people do, and I still wanted to have lyrics that if anyone who is experiencing this listens to the song, that those people can say, hell yes, they nailed it. I feel understood by this. This is what I'm going through. And this was probably the hardest thing. But that's why this organization that we teamed up with, they have this website in Germany, and there's a blog on there. And on this blog, they share stories that are written by people that are going through different mental illnesses, like going through depression, anxiety, and they're just telling their own stories, um, what led to their depression, for example, and how they dealt with it, how they came like out of it, how they beat it, or something like that. And I read through all those stories, which was pretty devastating, to be honest. It wasn't an easy process, and I tried to convert those stories, and I took a lot of parts and bits and pieces of those stories and translated them into English language from the German, and kind of put all the lyrics together with those pieces.
Oh,
And I hoped by doing this that I did justice to all the people. Yeah. I don't know if it worked, but so far um, the reception is very good. So
I was going to say the feedback has been
yeah,
incredible. So
yeah.
I think you guys nailed it.
Thanks. I hope so too.
As you look at these four songs, and I know you said like you had to write about certain topics that you don't necessarily have the personal experience to dive into, but as you look at these four tracks, is there one that's a little bit more personal to you?
Um, yeah, yeah, the one with Rob, Everyone I Love Is Broken, is uh is kind of the most personal for me because like I said, all four of us in the band have our own perspective on this topic. And um, luckily for me, I'm not the one who is like having firsthand experience with having depression or something like that. Um, but this also puts me in the position that I have a lot of really people that are close and very dear to me that are struggling with it. And as I said, this can also be very challenging and take a lot from you because you want to be there for them. And this is what I had to learn, that by constantly being there for someone else, and forgetting about yourself, you can easily get the same problem that you're trying to help somebody else with. And this is why at some point where I was like really low, I came up with this sentence that like everyone I love is broken, which is very melodramatic, I guess. But yeah, this is probably my most personal, well, out of the four.
And now that the EP is out, and you're going perhaps through the blues of all the work that led
Yeah.
up to the release, and now it's the down spiral, if you will. And as you start to look forward, this is my last question for you. What do you see the future for the band? What do you see in the horizon as you start to move forward?
Well, it's very easy. I see a new album because I'm going in the studio in 4 weeks.
So there's not much downtime.
No. No, not at all. Well, we're constantly writing, like from the start, we've constantly been writing music. There was never like this, and with the pandemic especially, there wasn't this like songwriting cycle and then touring cycle and then there's songwriting for another output. We're just writing new stuff constantly. And we have, I don't really know how many, something between 22 or 25 new songs ready, and working on the lyrics and the vocals for the pre-production the past weeks while we were promoting the CP. So we're right in the middle of finishing the next album. So
Wow.
this is what's next. Going to the studio, finishing the songs, and then probably in summer we're going to shoot music videos for the next stuff. And yeah, I can't say when it's gonna be out. I mean, I can, I know, but I'm not allowed. But but there will be, what I can say, there will be news this year about
Yeah.
when it's gonna be out and what and all that. And
Yeah.
there's this tour that we have announced for January next year that I'm really looking forward to, and I hope that it can happen. Uh, yeah, but it's only Germany and Austria, unfortunately. So,
Hey, it's better than nothing at this time. I'm sure at this time you would do a tour of like three cities
of course, of
just to get
course,
out and play.
I would anywhere. I would play a show in Australia and just fly there for one show if it would mean that I could play a show.
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I feel kind of the same way. I'm almost willing to travel anywhere just to see live music.
Yeah,
At this point, I know almost. I'm gonna say this almost. I almost don't care who's playing. I do care, but I
yeah,
almost don't care who's playing. I just
yeah.
want to see live music.
Yeah, well, we're having a tour in January next year, so if you want to visit
Well, it
Germany,
gives me a reason to visit Germany.
yes, there you go.
Now I have a
I
reason
think
to go.
most of the cities we play have an airport, so
Oh,
that's easy for you.
so there you go. I can fly to Germany. Last time I was in Germany, the only thing I saw was the Frankfurt airport. I was there
Mm,
for a connecting flight, so that
yeah,
wasn't too
that's
exciting.
no, and that's not the nicest of them all, but whatever.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much for your time. I know you're busy promoting the EP, so I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. I really enjoyed this EP. I think it's a great topic of discussion, and I think more people need to bring awareness to this discussion and make it feel comfortable to talk
Yeah,
about it. And I think
yeah.
you guys did that with these songs, and you covered it beautifully on these four tracks. So
Thank you.
thank you for your music. Thank you for your time, and all the best to you and the guys.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you. And all the best to you. Have a great, I don't know, evening. Do you have an
Yeah,
evening? I
evening.
haven't.
Let's go with
Okay.
evening.
Okay, perfect.
I thought this was last week, so evening
Yeah,
is fine.
all right. I see that. It doesn't matter then.
Take care.
Have a good one. Take care. Stay safe.
You too. Bye.
Bye.